Hello everyone, I'm Thomas Schimmelhorn and you guys are watching Drawing, Illustrations, and Art. In this video, I wanted to show you guys what I was working on, what I've been working on for the last 2 or 3 months, possibly even more at this point, which is my Destroyed City. It's part of the Man vs. Giant series. I am doing a series of drawings to sort of give myself an idea on what to draw. So starting off, I actually don't have the footage for this because I didn't start recording until afterwards, but I made sure to get the perspective, so on and so forth, right? There were certain things that I wanted to map out, like the little tiny buildings in the bottom right of the drawing, before actually doing all this stuff, right? But I honestly didn't worry too much about it because a lot of this is just going to be a crap ton of rubble. So right here, I'm just getting the buildings in, sort of just designing each building as I go, right? But I also wanted to get a lot of depth in the buildings. As you stop and as you see the buildings, I want you to look inside them and see what is there, see the destruction that has been done. And so I really tried to do this throughout the drawing. For the rubble, I tried to look for destroyed buildings, I tried to look for rubble, I tried to look for certain building construction images, right? A lot of this image was based around building construction and so forth. Here I'm trying to put more depth into that middle building that you see right there. I wanted the roof to be metal and the structure of the roof to show. And now I'm just putting more structure and tone on these two buildings, right? Really trying to play around with them and just see how I can manipulate it and get it to a point that I like. Don't want to forget about these buildings in the midground and the foreground. I want the midground to have some detail, and I want I said midground and foreground, didn't I? Midground and background. I want the midground to have some detail and the background not to have so much. And then I am working on the various structures and elements of the foreground, right? I want to build up as much rubble as I possibly can, right? Trying to place as much detail as I can in the foreground. My two favorite parts of this drawing is the middle part and this building off to the right. That is in between the midground and the foreground. This little tiny one. Not the one I'm working on right now. I just like how those turned out and so forth. But that middle piece, that piece of structure, that was supposed to be a rounded structure. It didn't turn out right. I don't know why it didn't. I tried to play around with it as much as possible, but a lot of, like I said before, a lot of what the reference images that I used was construction site images, right? I wanted to see how the structure of a image or of a building looks before it's all put together, so I could use those within this. And I think that turned out pretty good. No, the drawing's not finished. I just wanted to take a look at what we had got done so far. And so now I'm going back into it, and I am trying to hash out as many of these details. Later on, this doesn't matter because later on I'm going to come back and sort of blend this out. But that top right part of that building, I don't fix that. It's just like I sort of ignore it because there's just so much detail that I wanted to sort of render out in this that sort of came first, and then I'm just building tone to sort of just blend this out more, right? This roof, I play around with this. I wanted it to look beaten up. I wanted it to look like there was some damage done to it, but I didn't want it to look aged, so on and so forth, right? So I just play around with that, play around with the various structural things, try and build up a lot of the destruction, and see what I can do. I probably won't smooth that out again. Like that's kind of like a mistake. It takes away from the destructive type of look, I feel, anyways. Looks like I'm just bouncing around at this point, and I finally decide to work on the sky and the circular part. I tried to find like reference that I could use for this circular part, but it didn't work. And what I'm doing here is I'm just putting graphite on my pencil, or not my pencil, but my tortillions and blending stumps, and that was really fun. It makes it really easy just to add tone, so on and so forth. But at some point you're gonna have to bring that pencil in and whatnot. What I'm looking for right here is just an easy way to add tone, so that I can so that I can move on to each piece quicker, right? These are just sort of like reference pieces, and I'm doing that throughout the whole thing, using the brushes to also apply the powder and create more depth within this. I was lost through a lot of this part of the drawing. I just didn't know what direction to take, and I kind of got carried away with using the brush, and so a lot of detail was lost. But I like the misty effect that I was able to achieve, and that I think it looks pretty interesting. And I'm trying to build up the tone. The last thing that I do is I get super carried away doing this, but I tried to add some texture, some foliage, and I even looked up reference for this because I started to like it, but then I started to realize that that's not what this is supposed to be. This city is supposed to be a city that was just destroyed, not a city that has been destroyed and now life is growing there. And so I wanted to just make sure that wasn't going on throughout the entire piece. This is part of my live stream. This is the last touches that I made on this. So don't forget to go check out my live stream. Come by, say hi, see what I'm up to, right? See what drawing I'm working on. Maybe even give me a challenge. Comment, like, subscribe. Tell me what you thought about the drawing, and tell me what you thought about the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.